There's nothing out there like the African bush. And you can experience it while sitting in a car from a car seat, or you can actually be in the wild and become one with the wilderness.
Yeah, that is very true. It is something that can sound like a cliche, but you would have experienced it when you set foot on the raw earth and you've got to walk in the African wilderness. The wildlife is so overwhelming and so abundant that if you do not pay attention to those instinctive senses of yours, that you might make a mistake, and you quickly realize that you're part of a bigger system than the one that you're used to. So going on foot allows you to open your senses to experience, whereas with a car generally it's beautiful and you can observe nature and still gives you an opportunity to see a lot of nature. However, sensory wise, you are limited, and when your senses are limited, your feeling and emotions are limited. So it's a distant experience. It's still a tool that is frequently used and is definitely valuable. However, we encourage walking for people to get that experience, and so therefore that has made us do what we do and has given rise to Tsala Trails and many other wonderful safari companies. So we want to facilitate these moments for people and share it with them.
Let's talk a bit about senses sharpening. Like for me, it's such an interesting experience when you actually walk through the bush. You hear things clearer. Everything that's happening around you, you are much quicker at catching the sounds. You start smelling better. Like the longer you're exposed to the actual bush, the better your nose gets. And I experienced that firsthand. And yeah, it's breathtaking how you can actually immerse into that wild bush life of Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way for me to, I want to say, put light on the object of sensory awareness and experiences, we still all live in a world that continues. Some people at different paces and some people in different environments. However, the focus is normally so overwhelmed by noise from the surrounds that we live life that become almost tunnel vision. Yes, there is, I want to say, things to take into consideration and or experience when you, for example, in the London Underground, but you cannot. Otherwise, you will not be able to complete tasks.
No.
Whereas with the African wilderness, your focus shifts, and that focus shifts include you to take in and process what's going on around you, hence the feeling for presence.
No, everything slows down.
No.
Everything gets a bit slower and you can actually grasp it rather
No.
than the things just rushing by.
I think a good idea would be the experience of an action movie where the focus of the person slows down and the action happens slower. You watch it in the real world and it has actually happened quite fast, but for you experiencing it's quite a slow or feels quite calm. But in reality it happens quite fast, and yeah, without further ado, that's why we encourage people to take more time out on foot than less time.